What's up, guys? So, now that we have gotten Pyra and Mithra to take the 4th spot in the 2nd Smash Pass, we have just 2 spots left. And in this video, I want to talk about a handful of characters that I think have a very good chance of making it into these final 2 spots. And I figured since Sakurai alluded to these being the final 2 characters, I figured why don't we go big or go home? So up first is somebody that I think has a pretty fair chance of joining, which is Doomslayer. Given that the first Doom game was monumental to the first-person shooter genre, and sure, Smash isn't an FPS, but Smash is about having monumental characters from gaming history. And outside of the obvious ones like Mario, Link, and Sonic, we also have Cloud. And we all remember Final Fantasy VII, and also the amount of hype that was generated behind the Final Fantasy VII Remake. Pac-Man, one of the most iconic gaming characters ever, and Ryu, who is the face of the biggest fighting game in the world. Need I go on? And now that we know that Nintendo is willing to add characters that aren't made from primarily Japanese companies, thanks to Steve coming into the game, I think that Doomslayer would be a pretty interesting addition, and I'm sure a lot of fans of Animal Crossing and Doom would be very happy to see him join. Dante and Nero from Devil May Cry. Now, given that Ryu and Ken are in the game and Devil May Cry is another huge Capcom game franchise, I think it would be a pretty cool addition, especially since Dante was speculated to join instead of Byleth way back when. And I think him and Nero would bring enough diversity in their arsenal to be an interesting sword character. Especially since in Devil May Cry 5, Dante has 4 different fighting styles, 4 different melee weapons, and 4 different ranged weapons. And on the flip side, Nero has a much tinier arsenal, which contain his sword, his pistol, and his own get over here mechanic, and cybernetic arms that can do pretty much anything. But since Sephiroth and Pyra and Mithra are already sword users, it may not end up being received very well to have 3 sword users on the same Smash Pass. Number 3. Personally, I don't think that there are enough Legend of Zelda reps in the game, and though I am a Link main, I think that half of the Zelda reps in the game being Link is a little much. So another Legend of Zelda rep that I think would be amazing to have on the roster are Impa and Paya. And though I haven't played Hyrule Warriors Age of Calamity yet, I have seen a tiny bit of Impa gameplay, and honestly, she looks absolutely insane. And I think having a character who is a mix between Zelda and Sheik thrown into the game would be a welcome addition to the roster. And sure, Impa is old in Breath of the Wild, but if we were counting on the canonical age of anybody, almost all of the Fire Emblem reps should just be a bag of bones by now. And at the same time, that's why I'm listing Paya as well, because I'm sure she's received the same training as her grandmother at some point. And if I'm being honest, I really don't see any other Zelda character getting in the game if it isn't Paya and Impa. Number 4. Another franchise that is already in the game that I would love to get another rep from is obviously Pokemon. And honestly, with the release of Sword and Shield and all of the promotion that they did for the DLC, I'm genuinely surprised that we didn't get a Gen 8 Pokemon that was thrown into the Smash Pass in any shape or form. So if we were going to get a Gen 8 Pokemon to celebrate Sword and Shield being the best-selling Pokemon game in 20 years, out of the 109 new Pokemon introduced in Sword and Shield, I narrowed it down to 2 that I think would be the best. The first one being Urshifu, who was introduced in the Isle of Armor DLC. Personally, I do think that Urshifu would be a more interesting pick, since ideally it could form swap between its single strike form and its rapid strike form. One dealing more damage and the other being faster and not hitting as hard, similar to Pyra and Mithra, and the other option being Cinderace. Ideally, Cinderace would play like a mix between Wii Fit and Ken and Ryu using only their kicks. But honestly, given that we are moving on to the remakes of Pokemon Diamond and Pearl, I am not too sure if that will end up happening, but instead to promote those games, maybe we could end up with the fire starter from Sinnoh, Infernape. Purely because outside of Lucario, I think Infernape is the only other staple Pokemon introduced in Gen 4 that could really work in Smash, and I think a Pokemon that is kind of like a lighter DK with some martial arts thrown in would make for a very interesting addition. I think Infernape is the most popular Pokemon introduced in Gen 4 that would work in Smash. Maybe Garchomp, but given that he's already in Pokken, I don't really think that they would go for that. Now, with my 4th pick, I wouldn't really be surprised if they ended up joining Smash, because I think that Crash Bandicoot is the best next meme character to add to the game. Now, obviously Crash isn't a meme, but since Steve and Banjo are already in the game, and both of those characters are on the same level of ridiculousness as Crash, because let's be honest, who thought that Steve or Banjo would ever end up in Smash? But anyways, now is the perfect time for Crash to join Smash, especially since Crash 4, It's About Time, has just been released on the Switch as of March 11th. I think that throwing Crash into Smash would be a perfect way to promote the new game. And similarly to Steve, I think it would be cool if you could alternate between different characters in the games, like one being Coco or even Tawna. And for additional fan service, they could even use 2 out of the 8 skin slots as a nod to fake Crash and fake Coco. Now, out of this entire list, these next few are characters that I would like to join Smash, but I'm not really confident that they will end up joining, unfortunately. So let's get started with number 6, which is Ryu Hayabusa from the Ninja Gaiden series. Honestly, as I said, I highly doubt this character will end up joining Smash, but since Ninja Gaiden Master Collection is coming to the Switch soon, it may be highly unlikely, but it's not entirely impossible. And since Greninja and Sheik are the only ninja-esque characters in the game, I think that Ryu would be an extremely unique addition to Smash, since like Byleth, he has a variety of weapons that he can use, as well as Nimpo spells, which Sakurai can implement just like Hero or with Sephiroth's Giga Flare. And personally, I would prefer if he could play how Byleth should have from the get-go, by swapping between his variety of weapons, from his signature katana or even dual katanas, as well as a bow staff, greatsword, a warhammer, and even bladed nunchucks. And he has more, but obviously that's a lot, even with what I chose to mention. But it's up to Sakurai to decide which weapons he wants to use. And given how Ryu also has some of the coolest costumes of any character on this specific list, he would have a variety of skins to choose from. Number 7. So as I'm sure you remember, earlier in the video I mentioned a monumental first-person shooter character, and there is another character on this list that is from a revolutionary first-person shooter that plenty of people have been begging to be in the game for a while now, and by now I'm sure you've guessed it's Master Chief, who is arguably the most beloved character that Microsoft owns. So to me, it would be pretty crazy if Master Chief didn't end up finding his way into Smash. And sure, he isn't as popular in Japan as he is here in America, but neither is Metroid, and we got Ridley in the game, as well as Banjo and Kazooie. And I could be wrong, but I haven't paid attention to either of them in forever, so who knows. But anyways, I think Master Chief and possibly even the Arbiter as an alternate skin, similar to how Olimar and Alphar, would be a pretty fun character who could play as a more hands-on and aggressive version of Snake. Number 8. I am very glad that we have Street Fighter reps to begin with, but I'm not a huge fan of the fact that they are more or less just clones of one another, so I think another well-known Street Fighter character that could be brought into Smash would be either Chun-Li or M. Bison. With Chun-Li, she is one of the most iconic characters from the franchise, and beyond her Kikuken, she fights vastly different from Ryu and Ken, which is a huge plus in terms of variety. And honestly, I don't think that there are enough villains in Smash, with there only being 12 as of the addition of Sephiroth. And though there are a plethora of villains in Street Fighter, M. Bison is one of the most recognizable villains in the series. I think he would be the perfect addition to the rogues gallery of the game. And on top of that, since he is almost 100 pounds heavier than Ryu, he could also serve as another heavy character to add to that very small portion of characters, in addition to having some more options for mobility and a variety of moves that will make him stand out compared to some of the others. Number 9. Now, with both Street Fighter and Fatal Fury already having reps in Smash, I think it would be great to finish the trifecta of staple fighting games by adding in a character from Tekken. Personally, if I had to pick any, it would probably be Bob, purely because he is one of my favorite characters, but also I think he would be a hilarious addition. There aren't enough straight up brawlers that have been added in the fighter passes, and given that in Tekken, Bob is a straight up powerhouse who uses his freestyle karate to devastate his opponents with no additional gimmicks, I think he would be fantastic. For the fans of Tekken, it would be a nice nod to have Slim Bob as half of the alternate skins, and given that Enderman's hitbox is different from all of the other Steve skins, it's not impossible for them to do the same with Bob and Slim Bob. But honestly, with
such a huge roster of characters, Sakurai could choose any one of them, and I'm sure any Tekken fan would be happy. But if he does decide to add a Tekken character, I honestly wouldn't be worried with anybody that Sakurai would decide to choose, especially with Jin. Not only being able to bring the Ryu versus Jin fight to Smash, but also with Jin potentially being able to switch to his devil form through a mechanic similar to Joker's Arsene, or even a comeback mechanic akin to Sephiroth and Terry's. I mean, honestly, if Sakurai even wanted to, he could just let Jin change back and forth with down B, which would honestly be absolutely insane, but given that Sakurai doesn't really care about balance, I think Jin has potential to be the most unique character on both of the Smash Passes. And given that the creators of Tekken also made Pokken Tournament, it's not entirely impossible. And now finally, we have number 10. Initially, I had Paper Mario for this spot, but I honestly thought that there would be a better Mario character to throw on this list, so I decided to cut him. And not to mention, you can't make a Smash prediction list without having our Lord and Savior Waluigi on it. And now, before you roll your eyes, I have a legitimate argument for why I think he actually has a chance. So do me a favor, think back to the days when ARMS was announced as the next IP that would be joining Smash. There was a ton of speculation of who exactly it would be, and people were even wondering if Springman would join, even with him being an assist trophy. And then fast forward to when we finally got the reveal trailer. They even straight up let Springman hold the Smash invitation right before he gets clocked in the jaw by Ribbon Girl. So honestly, I think if this trailer shows anything, it shows that just because somebody is an assist trophy does not exactly mean that they are deconfirmed. Because Sakurai himself even said that the ARMS studio wanted them to use Min Min. So if you ask me, that means that Sakurai was originally probably going to use Springman. So that means that Waluigi has a genuine chance of finally joining Smash. It may be a very minuscule chance, but it is still a chance nonetheless. With all of that being said, if I missed a character that you really want in Smash, make sure to let me know down in the comments below. And as always, if you enjoyed the video, don't forget to leave a like and subscribe, and I'll catch you guys in the next video.